Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's start out with the defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. And you would not cooperate with that request for an interview, yes or no? I couldn't. I was in a program. I don't have that freedom to make that choice. It's confidential. I mean, I don't even know how you found me. Okay, thank you. Just a moment, Your Honor. Sure. Just so I'm certain, Ms. Sutton, your contacts with Stan Newton are limited only to your relationship here in California regarding your tenancy on Rose Lane. Is that right? I don't understand the question. Could you repeat it? Is your relationship with Mr. Newton limited strictly to the fact you are a tenant in a place he manages, and that's how we met and we became friends? Yes, he's my landlord. I'm his tenant. And does Mr. Newton communicate with your family back in New York? He has, yes, because they were on my lease. And so the relationship runs a little bit deeper than just an apartment manager and a tenant, right? No, my parents were on my lease. My dad paid the rent. His relationship would be with them also, since they paid the rent on my behalf. Did you socialize with Mr. Newton? Define socialize. Go to dinner, movies? No. Went to lunch once. We were running errands a few times, but never dinner and movies, no. And had you been out with him on the day of March 18th, 2011, prior to the arrival of Southside Sheriff or Southside police officers? As I stated earlier in my testimony, I had spent the day with him running errands. Yes. Ms. Sutton, after Mr. Larson left your house the first time in March, did you ask him to come back to get rid of the people that were staying in your house that you didn't want there? Did I ask who? George Larson. No, sir. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor. All right. Redirect examination. Thank you. When Mr. Mills was asking you the question about your interview with Detective Blake, and he asked you if you recalled being in the bedroom that night and if you were afraid for your safety, and he asked you, do you recall saying the answer no. Do you remember when he asked you that question just briefly ago? Yes. Okay. Was that, do you recall if that was your entire answer to the detective? No. Okay. Do you remember exactly what you did say to the detective at that moment? Do you remember exactly what you said to that detective at that moment? I'm confused. Okay. Let me ask you something, Ms. Sutton. Mr. Mills asked you, do you recall answering the question when you were talking to the detective? Were you afraid for your safety? He asked you, do you recall saying the answer no? Do you remember him asking you that on cross-examination just a moment ago? Right. All right, we'll take just a little bit of a break, rest our fingers. We still have a few minutes left. All right. We'll get back to this now. We'll start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. Then I asked you, do you remember whether that was your entire answer to the detective? I don't remember. Okay. Do you remember what your entire answer was to the detective? No. Would it refresh your memory if I showed you a transcript of what you said to the detective? Yes. Did that help refresh your memory to what you said after the word no that Mr. Mills pointed out to you? Yes. What did you say after you said the word no? It said yes and no. I wanted to say no, but I was afraid to say no. You also told that to the detective, correct? Correct. And Mr. Mills asked you, do you recall whether or not you told the detective that you were high that night? Do you remember what you did say to the detective regarding that? Do you remember exactly what you said? No. Would it refresh your memory if I showed you a transcript of that? Yes, sir. Do you recall your answer now, ma'am? Yes. What did you say to the detective on that night last year or in 2011? Excuse me. I said I was high, but I wasn't so high that I didn't know what was going on. You told the truth. You're shaking your head up and down. Yes, yes, I did. When the detective asked you, were you afraid for your safety? And you answered her, no. I mean, yes and no. I thought I wanted to say no, but I was afraid to say no. Why were you afraid to say no to this officer in your bedroom? Because of his position and my position. He could do anything to me at any time. All right, we will stop there. That will conclude our Q&A practice.